So I'm always talking about how great Lusaka is. However, what is one thing that Lusaka and maybe even majority of Africa really needs? So let's get into that. Hey, Jason here. If you've been watching the channel, I'm 10 years in the game as an expat slash nomad. I am on my fourth country, third continent in Lusaka, Zambia, the southern region of Africa. And I've started sharing with you what I've learned along this 10-year journey. And most importantly, if you're already an expat or considering to be one, why you should be looking into Zambia and the rest of the southern region of Africa, because there's a lot of opportunities here that have been gatekept from us. And you'll be shocked how much the American presence has been here and they don't show us the truth. So let's go ahead and get into today's topic. So like I said in the intro, what is the one thing that Lusaka, Zambia needs? And this is probably goes to a lot of other countries in Africa also. Over my 10-year journey going across not been in more than 4 countries, but living in 4 countries and being on 3 continents, it has shown me that the psychology of selling, business psychology, does not exist in most countries. When most of these countries were handed back over to the people who should have been in control of them, a lot of that psychology was not handed over also. So a lot of things are not in place as they are in maybe the UK, Australia, in the United States, and even parts of Mexico, Colombia, things like that. And all of that has to do with psychology of selling. And if you never heard of that before, it's probably because you haven't done many selling professional development events. You know, one of the things, and this is an American problem, they teach you through movies and subliminal messages that all of these professional development things is about the power of me. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. And the truth is, they're teaching you how to actually sell people. They're teaching you how to make money. At the end of the day, life is business. And if you want to have a great life, you do need to have money. Don't shoot me, I'm just a messenger. It's the truth. It takes money to be able to do things that you want in life. It takes money to be able to travel. It takes money to be able to live in a house. It takes money to be able to cover the expenses. It takes money to take care of children. All of these things takes money. And so the psychology of selling is something that everyone should be taught at a very young age and keep being reinforced as they get older and older and older. So I didn't learn these things. I'm gonna be honest with you. I did not learn this stuff growing up in the school system. The school system taught me to regurgitate information that was given to me and then go apply for a job. That's what the school system taught me, even in the United States. I know sometimes people think like, oh, you're from the US, it's so great, it's wonderful. It's the same. It's the same. There are plenty of people there right now that are just working and miserable, and they don't have a clue how to get out of their rut. And one of the problems is we have not been taught how to make money or how to earn money, if I can be more correct about how to say it. And what I mean by that is there's psychological tools in place on selling. Everything about the human psyche has been broken down for the most part. The only things that really haven't been broken down is fully understanding the subconscious mind. But from the conscious mind perspective, it is very much in place. Like, if I put this much issues on a person, I put this much stress on their life, these are the desired outcomes that's going to happen 9 times out of 10. It's just a probability roll. When I started reading this and studying this really, really in depth, I started seeing, why are low income areas looking the same? Why is it there's generational poverty? All of these different things. Why is it hard to overcome for so many people to get out of their situations, and very few people do succeed out? When most people come to the conclusion of, oh, if I could have done it, they could do it too. No, they can't. It is a probability game. These things are in place. You can find these things actually on YouTube just now. Look at how they did the prison system. I can't remember the exact name of the system, but it's the study. But it's where they know if you have people in prison, they will start actually policing themselves after so long. Look at the dog studies they've done with psychology, the monkey studies they've done with psychology. Now let's go to one of the biggest human studies. And this was done in the United States. This was right before the Civil Rights Act was approved and passed. It's called How to Sell, the NEGRO. Don't beat me up for the word. That is the name that they used when the U.S. government started unrolling that program. And what they were doing, they were going to white business owners to teach them there's a psychology behind selling to black folks. And in that psychology, they realized we can take all of their wealth where they're giving it to us, and they won't even think twice about it. These are psychological hacks. These are the ways that people are being controlled to this day. So many people are bringing up the Illuminati, the Illuminati, the Illuminati. It's about ourselves. We have to understand from a psychological point of view who we are. But more in depth to that, if you want to earn money, you have to learn how to sell psychologically. And all of these things break it down. Whether you like that, the how to the sell and all of these different studies or not, it doesn't matter if you agree with it or not. From a moral perspective, it's telling you what the science proves. And so even this one, like this is one where most Americans don't realize this. And most other countries outside of the United States break these rules all the time. And this rule is you do not treat people as if they're a criminal. What the United States realized, and from a business perspective, is that the less you treat someone like a criminal in your store or establishment, the more money they are willing to pay for things. Meaning they will buy more things even if they don't need them. Now, just to raise your hands, raise your hand if you've been guilty. So I already know I have, I'm gonna raise mine. Have you ever went to a store, a department store, or anywhere, and you ended up buying something that you did not have on your list to buy, or you didn't even need? I'm guilty of it. I used to go to Big Lots, I have my groceries list, and I'll come out with probably 3 to 5 extra things every single time I would go. And the reason being was the people were nice to me. We would be holding conversations. They'll let me know how the kids doing, show me pictures of their grandkids. We just talking about our day. And then all of a sudden I'm in there, I could be in there 30, 45 minutes or an hour. I picked up everything I needed about 20 minutes ago. And then in there, I'm just picking up other things. So now I'm just so comfortable, I'm looking. And I'm just seeing like, what else would I want? That is psychological selling right there. This is one of the biggest things that a lot of companies and businesses actually do wrong in this modern era. They treat a lot of their clients like criminals. Truth be told, not very many criminals even going to put in the effort to go to your store and steal. Most of them are lazy. Most criminals are lazy. They're looking for easy targets. And this is something that a lot of countries have to start teaching to their businesses. Like psychological selling from a business perspective, these are the things that raise your GDP in your country. These are the things that take you from having businesses making thousands of dollars to hundreds of thousands of dollars. And you can even use these things by teaching people with the stocks and bonds and things like that. Think about like here with Zambia. Let's say if there's 16 billion people in the country, I think, of 16 billion, if 1 billion of them were all putting aside 500 kwacha just in government bonds, how much money would that raise for the government? But there's no education on it and no one is psychologically selling it. And so you may be asking me like, Jason, why do you keep saying psychologically selling? The reason why it's psychological selling because we are sold from 2 different principles. We all share these 2 different principles. And we share them in different facets of our lives when it comes to buying or purchasing things. One is emotional. We're emotional buyers, or we're intellectual buyers, meaning we need more information. So let me break those down to you using me as an example. I am an emotional buyer when it comes to cars. I love cars. I like fast cars. I like Supercars. I like everything about a car. For me, a car is like looking at a Vincent Van Gogh or Picasso painting. I love cars. Like even here, like I fell in love with the GAC, which is a Chinese SUV. It was beautiful. And every part of me wants that car right now. I'm glad they're not here yet, because I'll probably be driving one. I'll go into debt and everything. I would not care. You see that? That's an emotional buyer. An emotional buyer, when you connect with an emotional buyer and they have that connection with your product, they want it. They don't want you talking to them. They don't want you trying to oversell them. Just those are the people where you be like, okay, just let me know when you're ready and we can go do the paperwork. That is how you handle an emotional buyer when they come across you. However, an intellectual buyer, this is the one most people miss on. An intellectual buyer is someone who needs more information. They're interested in the product or service that you have. However, they do not understand it enough to purchase it. And the reason why I say this is the one where most people get wrong is most people assume the position as if a person contact them, they are ready to buy right then and there. It happens to me every day when I contact people on Facebook, and they'll be like, oh yeah, it's available, when you want to get it. Then I have to scold them like, and I scold them in a business manner. I'm like, hey, did I ever tell you that I wanted to get it? Second, did you answer the question that I asked? Read the sentence. Do not just hit one-click replies. I know when someone is acting like a robot, and I know when I'm speaking to a regular person. And so that's what I mean when people always make this mistake. Even in person, when you go to some places, they'll be like, oh, so you ready to get it? Did I tell you I'm ready to get it? Even with like the Prudential life insurance here, which I do plan on purchasing. However, the people that was talking to me, okay, so we can send over the paperwork, you sign it and send them the money. And I'm like, no, I'm not sending you money. Send me more information about your products. I want to understand exactly what the money is going into. How is my money going to be growing going into this? That means I need more information. Like right now, I plan on getting government bonds, investing within the government of Zambia. But you guess what? I'm not just going and throwing 500 kwacha, 1,000 kwacha, anything into the government bonds. I need more information. So next week I plan on sitting down, having a conversation with someone who can explain them to me so I can make an intellectual basis on how much do I want to invest in this country? How long do I want to do these bonds? Why are they going to be good for me and possibly my future kids? So like that is the difference. And let me know in the comments if you're an emotional buyer on something, if you're an more of an emotional or more of an intellectual buyer. Now just remember, these are for different parts of your lives. Like for me, let's say if it's, let me see, what's something I don't really, like if it's a TV. I'm not a big TV watcher. I'm not emotionally bought on TV. Like I don't care how big it is, I don't care how the screen it is. I'm looking more at like, is this worth my money? But like I say with cars, I have a car right now in Panama. It's a 1983 Ford Mustang. I bought that car. I shouldn't have bought that car. It made 0 sense to buy that car in Panama. But I was an emotional buyer. I saw it. I loved it. I wanted it. I got it. And the funny thing is, I could have bought a newer car cheaper, easier to do the maintenance, all of these different things. So the reason why I say it was a bad purchase is in Panama, it's expensive to get parts over. Because it's a isthmus surrounded by water on two sides, I think, it's very difficult getting things there, believe it or not. Even though it has the Panama Canal, you'd think parts would be cheap to get there. But it's expensive to get parts there, especially for older American cars. And so it would have been cheaper for me to buy a newer Toyota when I was there, or a newer Honda, than it was to buy an old car. However, coming from Texas, where I was born and raised, I could buy an old car there. I knew people who was a mechanic. I knew people with a auto body shop. I knew people who painted. I knew people who did the wiring of the car. I knew how to get candy paint on there for cheap. I knew people that had junkyards. Like everything I needed was right there. So that's how I was an emotional buyer with cars in the US. But like now, I can't be that emotional buyer. I don't have that group of people that network with me anymore. So it didn't serve me any justice in Panama. And the car is still there. It's sitting in my buddy's yard. I told him he can just keep it. I gave him the title, everything to it. And so I just wanted to share that with you because I think this is one of the things that is very important, not only for Zambia, but most countries in the world. And I'm actually considering opening up a consulting business, speaking to businesses and help train them on sales. Because I think a lot of this education just haven't been brought here yet. And unfortunately, the big guys are not coming here yet. And so maybe it's time for Jay to do it. But most importantly, if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. I don't know what that noise is. If you see me keep looking, it's like a drilling noise. I don't know if you can hear it, and I apologize if it's loud. This is my third time recording this video because it's been so much noise. But just remember this, I'm Jason, and success is simple once you know how.